Years ago, I saw something I have never been able to forget. I was 17, I just started going to the gym, and I was walking to the bus stop after training. A minibus pulls up, not mine, and a young couple gets off. And right away, I can see something is wrong. They're fighting. He's shouting at her. She's crying, pulling away. He grabs her by the jacket, spins her around, drags her back. They're almost out in the road, tearing each other apart. And then she turns and walks straight toward me. I'm young. I don't really know what to do. I look around. There's nobody else, just me. She comes up and says, "Can you help me?" And even back then, I understood that stepping into someone else's fight is one of the least predictable things you can do, because you don't know what actually happened between them. But I decided to try. I start talking to the guy, and it escalates. He's drunk, he's barking at me, and I can feel that anything could happen. And then, at the boiling point, she steps in, and she says to me, "Leave him alone, don't touch him, don't do anything." She started defending him, the man who, a minute ago, was the one hurting her. Back then, I didn't have the tools to understand what I'd just seen. Today I do. And what I'm about to explain will change the way you see women and relationships permanently. Let's start with an uncomfortable observation. In relationships between men and women, there are patterns we all notice but can't quite explain. Decent, honorable men are strangely not in high demand. Meanwhile, you'll see an attractive woman, intelligent, even refined, completely losing her mind over a man who's crude, has no money, no direction, nothing. And yet she dreams of being with him, against all logic. You saw it as a teenager. Girls gravitated toward the troublemakers, boys with zero future. Meanwhile, the good kid, the one who studies, has no bad habits, is healthy, knows what he wants to become, and will probably earn more. A life with him is not only more stable, it's more predictable. And she ignores him. And you were sold a comforting myth. She's just young. By 30, she'll grow up, get wiser, and make the sensible choice. I used to genuinely believe that too. The statistics say otherwise. I've had divorce lawyers and notaries as clients, people who every single day watch couples who no longer want to be together. Their observations line up exactly with mine. Here's what they see and what I see. Most breakups don't happen because something unforgivable occurred, something that made the relationship impossible. They happen because one partner simply lost interest and then turns the other into a monster to justify it. Over and over, a man is ready to give a woman everything, and does, and she just doesn't want it. He takes the position of the good man, the builder, the provider, and she goes looking for something hotter. And this is the most painful thought for a man to accept. She isn't leaving so that you'll change and she'll come back. She's leaving to find something else. Does she even know what she's looking for? No. Think of it like this. As a kid, you come into the kitchen and your mother offers you soup. No. Buckwheat and cutlets. No, I'm sick of that. Well, what do you want? I don't know what I want, but not that. And then something exciting appears on the table and suddenly, that's what I wanted. That's how it works. She knows she doesn't want you. And in her search, she isn't following logic. She's following a feeling. Now, someone will say, but there are cases where a man is a genuine tyrant, a brute who terrorizes a woman, and she doesn't leave. Exactly. That is the whole point of everything I'm describing. There's a term for it, Stockholm Syndrome, a positive emotional bond between a victim and an aggressor. In 1973, in Stockholm, an armed criminal took over a bank with several hostages. He demanded money, a car, conditions. For days, he was locked in that space with them. And over time, something strange happened. The hostages began to side with him. They wanted his demands met. After the police stormed in and freed them, they defended him. They hired lawyers, gave testimony that he was a good man. In other cases, women wrote love letters to criminals who had been caught. Some even sought them out, despite the aggression aimed at them. For decades, this was studied only through the lens of hostage and captor. But today, we understand it belongs inside ordinary relationships too. Let me describe a case almost every man will recognize. You meet a woman, you don't feel much for her. Maybe you even neglect her, barely notice her, give her nothing. But she takes the initiative. She invests. She cares. A month passes, 2, 3, it doesn't cost you much. And slowly, you start taking her seriously. What a good person. You start building a future with her, maybe even a family. And then, suddenly she starts to cool. She starts losing interest. Congratulations. You just met the woman who's prone to this dynamic, the one who was, in fact, looking for the conditions to fall into it. For a woman like this, money, status, comfort, it's nice, but it's secondary. You can have everything to offer, and watch her not latch onto any of it. There are countless stories, a man with a house, income, a family with children, and she walks out into a worse life, financially and in every other way. Or she runs to some guy with nothing, because that man fits the pattern, and to her the pattern comes first. This attachment can be formed in childhood or later in life, but most often it comes from childhood. And here's the thing, it doesn't show up right away. There's a stage where everything is calm, smooth, good, and then little by little come the releases of negativity. Resentment, fear of loss, the threat of a breakup, then everything is good again. The boat rocks back and forth constantly. And with every swing, the victim attaches to the aggressor more and sympathizes with him more. This is the man who says, her actions are terrible, but deep down she's very, very good. I just need to fix her. The desire to fix a person. The desire to believe they're not really like that. The belief that out of these awful circumstances, you can somehow sculpt something beautiful and live happily. That is pure self-deception, nothing more. People ask, how long can relationships like this last? One factor matters more than any other: your resource, your value. If a man has no resource and he's in the victim's position, she loses interest. Exactly when you give her everything and start building a life, that's when her interest drains away. But if you do have resource, it gets darker. The most painful case I see is the man over 30 who has a lot to offer. Because in those conditions, she uses him to solve her other problems. She thinks marriage is expected, I need stability, my friends are all married, so she keeps him on a leash. And this scenario is even more painful because every time she reaches out, you see a flicker of hope. And the question haunts you, when will she finally let go? When she finds someone who fits better. Now, the most important detail, and you won't read this anywhere online. Why is the fallout so much less painful for the woman than for the man? In the overwhelming majority of cases, here's how a woman enters this. She meets a man who is simply indifferent to her. From the start, she needs him. She needs him. And he either drops her early, not interested, or he keeps talking to her and sooner or later starts taking her seriously. And here's the twist. Then she outplays him and walks away calmly, without damage. For men, the mechanics are the opposite. Take that same example. He lets her into his life, everything's fine, and then the roles quietly reverse. You know how it sounds. I didn't value her. I was a terrible person. And now I'll tear my hair out to win her love back. He accidentally ended up in the leader's position, and of course he doesn't know how to hold it. The moment she creates the conditions for him to feel guilt, it's over. The heaviest stories people bring me are exactly these. So there is only one correct decision: end it immediately. These dynamics do not heal. And understand the absurdity of how they're built. Some men, right now, are in relationships where they oppress the woman and she loves them. The catch? The moment that man stops, she leaves. The entire structure stands on force, on the swing. So if you want to test whether this is your situation, give her something. Show initiative. Invest as much as she invests. That is the perfect test of a woman. Watch what she does with equal attention and equal investment. That's the moment you truly get to know her. She'll either keep consuming and start losing interest, or she'll value it. This is why, when you meet a woman, you should always know her past. It says a great deal. If you learn she was in a relationship where she was mistreated, tormented, that does not automatically mean you should pity her and assume she's fragile and good. In most cases, that situation is the one she wanted, and she's only playing the victim. A genuinely good woman with the right compass in life understands she cannot stay with such a person. She doesn't cling to unhealthy emotion. She leaves. And that brings me back to where I started, the couple on the street. The boy oppressing her, the girl crying. In that moment, she might complain to someone, her mother, her friends. And they'll say, leave him, he's bad for you. And she'll answer, no, I love him. And she'll stay with him for exactly as long as he keeps behaving that way. But the day he shows weakness, even once, nothing of that love will remain. And the girl who adored him will be gone. That is how fragile it is. That is what no one explains. So stop trying to be the good man a woman takes for granted. Become the man whose strength is quiet, whose frame doesn't break, the man who never needs to beg, chase, or prove. That is the man she cannot manipulate, and the only man she will ever truly respect. If this helped you see clearly, subscribe and stay. There is far